Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here. In this video I'm going to be talking about transcending resistance and embracing perfection. Now of course I have talked a lot about the nature of perfection on this channel quite a few times. I've also guided my YouTube subscribers, everybody who's tuning into these videos as well too, about working with the nature of surrender as well too. When it comes to what I truly understand as what we could call spirituality, what we could call moving into the true nature of consciousness, it really just falls down into that particular nature, is surrender. When you surrender and you realize that here's the circle representing life, here's you directly in the center of that circle, everything that comes into that circle is based upon your own means. Everything that you say, everything that you do, everything that you think, everything that you feel, everything that you idealize. It all appears inside that circle, with you being that center presence that too is the entire circle. And attempting to get these teachings out to people, and just coming back to this, and really what I do is that as I start to apply all of this into my life, it becomes a lot more simple, right? So every time I talk about this, my aim is to make it even more simpler, and even more simpler, and even more simpler when it comes into the nature of surrender, releasing, and of course, realizing perfection. That's all it is. Perfection is already here, whether you even realize it or not. But it certainly serves you better when you realize that perfection is here. Well, Brad, what are you talking about with the idea of being in that perfection? How can I be in that perfection? Well, you guys see these two paintings behind me. These are two paintings that I have personally painted. It was going back to about 2016 when I was painting both of them. Now, I could have taken that canvas out, I could have put it on my easel, have my paints around, and I could have just looked at something on Google Images and just tried to replicate what is on that Google image. So if I have a picture of an eye here on Google Image, then I will just try and replicate that to a T. So it may look very beautiful, but is it my own original design? No. Because all I was trying to do was mimic something. All I was trying to do was replicate and copy something that really did not allow me to express myself fully. It was not me being authentic. I was basically copying somebody else. I was copying somebody else's work. I was copying their expression. I was copying their beliefs. I was copying their forms of actions, their strokes with the brush. I wasn't being genuine at all. And so as I live life like that, this is living life in great resistance. Right? So it's like that canvas. I have the canvas, I have my paintbrush, I have my paint, and I'm painting this, but I really have to make an image in the form of what somebody else has already done. I want to live somebody else's life. I want to do exactly what they do. I want to act exactly as how they act. I want to think exactly as how they think. I want to feel exactly how they feel. And that is you putting yourself in a prison. That is you putting resistance into your own expression of this blank canvas. So when we do that, we understand that what is actually happening is we're putting resistance deliberately into our own life. That circle that I talked about, and you being in the center of that circle, well, that is life. And as long as you continue to paint a canvas just to copy, you paint a canvas because you feel that you're only allowed to paint with black or white, then that is you putting up this resistance throughout all of life. And it's the very same thing about how you decide to live life. I can't go this far because somebody told me I can't. I can't do this with my life because somebody told me I'm not capable of doing that. I can't think this way because somebody told me I should not think in that way. I cannot perform this action because somebody told me I should not perform action in this way. So I keep putting up these words of resistance. Life is going too fast. Life is going too slow. It's just too slow, it's just too fast, and I can't keep up and I'm falling behind and everything's turning chaotic. As soon as you have validated those words, you have put those paints, those expressions of paint upon a canvas that is somebody else's perspective rather than your own. It's just the idea that you look at the world and you see how people react to the world. And you see how they feel life is going too fast, or life is going too short, or the government is doing this, or I don't have enough money, or my family is like this. We look for that stimulation. We see what others are doing. Should I copy them? It's kind of like being in a classroom and there's all these other students around you doing an exam and you really don't know what to do with this exam. So you're going to start peeking over your shoulder to see what they're writing down. And maybe they're answering the wrong questions, right, in the wrong way. And you don't know, right? And you just start filling in the dot there for answer C. Answer C for question number 1. No, it turns out to be wrong because I'm not even giving my own expression. I'm not giving my own understanding about this test. I have to look over other people's shoulder. What are they doing? Oh, look, okay, they're doing that. I'll do that too. Oh, I see what he's doing there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. That's not expressing yourself authentically. That's putting up resistance. Well, again, that's what we're doing here in life. You're constantly feeling that this is too slow, this is too fast, this is too high, this is too low, this is too cold, this is too hot, this is too chaotic, this is too miserable. So we just keep putting this bar in front of us. And this bar that we set is polarizing. And that is what makes our life so miserable. We make our life so miserable because of all the pressure of resistance that we put up in life. Just how we say things. I can't do this. There's no way that that can be done. I can't think in that way. I can't do what that person does. I can't do anything. And this is you constantly telling yourself, life is imperfect because I can't do this. I won't do this. I'm not able to do this. I can't think in this way. I can't bring about that kind of idea. I can't, I won't. So therefore, as we keep putting up those resistance walls, that's what confines you into space. That's why your life feels so full of dread. Because you invest yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally into these resistance bonds, these resistance blocks, this bar of resistance. Again, not painting your own canvas, trying to paint somebody else's idea, trying to paint somebody else's vision, and trying to pass it off as your own. It's not going to work because it will never be the same. You may try to copy something, but it will never have that essence of authenticity, right? It becomes a forgery. And this is what happens, is that we are committing forgery with our own life. We're living in the way of what anybody else thinks that we should live. And that's what's creating the idea, the impression that life is imperfect. That I have all these belief systems, I have all these problems. Oh, Brad, I got all this debt. I got all this problem with my work. I got problems with my family. The world is so chaotic. Politicians are so corrupt and they're corrupting me, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm putting up all of these blocks. I'm putting up all of this gigantic walls of resistance all around me. As long as I continue to do that, then I live in a world of hell. I live in a world of chaos because I have forgotten that I'm in the center of the circle. I have forgotten that I'm the one that calls the shots. I'm the one that says, let's do this. I'm the one who says, I'm going to make this happen. And now, those walls that I've put up are falling down. The most important thing to remember is to know that life truly is perfect. And when you use that, and when you understand that, when you truly understand the nature, when you say life is perfect, and you no longer restrict yourself, life becomes more divine and more beautiful than you can ever imagine. This is something I'm working on every single day as well too, is realizing that everything is perfect. That if I try to restrict myself because something's moving too slow, or something's moving too fast, or something's too hot, or something's too cold, no, there's too much of this, there's too much of that, I start going into polarity. I start going into duality. The whole key here in that sense is to take everything that you know is divine and put it into material reality, right? It's about the idea of realizing that spirit and material are one. Okay? Everything truly is spirit. But when we look into the nature of material life, we're not here to shun it aside. We're not here to kick it to the curb. We're not here to basically move away from that. We're not looking to detach. Right? If we look to detach ourselves from all of physical life, you are completely leaving behind everything that is necessary for you to integrate into yourself so that you know that you are the divine, so that you know that you are perfect, right? And that's what I can tell every single one of you who's watching this right now. You are perfection, but you don't know that you're perfection. You keep, again, going through this three-ring circus and constantly putting resistance up and always slamming yourself down, thinking that you cannot do these things, or I'm sick, or I'm ill. You've made yourself sick. You've made yourself ill. I'm incapable of doing this. I feel incompetent. Well, that's, again, all part of your own perspective because you constantly think that you are. I'm ignorant to this. I'm incompetent to that. I'm wasteful. I'm jealous. I'm horrible, etc. It's all these walls. It's like these things just come crashing down as soon as you verify them, right? You validate them. You verify them. Even though it's things you don't want, they're just come crashing down instantly like big towers into your life. Oh, I'm so miserable. Oh, I can't handle my money. Oh, the government's screwing me around. I'm too cold. I'm too hot. Okay? It's too slow. It's too fast. It's too this, it's too that, it's too this, it's too that. And those are the extremes. So you want to learn how to let go of all of those resistances. And that comes through the simple nature of surrendering, of just letting everything go. And for many, they think that that can almost be an impossibility because they don't know how to relax. You don't know how to relax, you don't know how to calm yourself. And it all really comes down to the breath. You don't need some advanced gizmo. You don't need some advanced technology. The technology itself is the breath. The breath is the technology. And as I've taught many times on this YouTube channel, you start with heart rate variability. You start with 4 seconds in through the nose, 6 seconds out through the nose. Do that 10 times at least, right? Go on doing it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, etc. Relax yourself through the breath. Look at all these things that you're holding onto, these gigantic towers, these huge pillars that have just come crashing into your life because you are validating your own resistance. You validate resistance, and this is why you're miserable. You validate resistance, and this is why you struggle, and this is why you suffer. Just realize everything's perfect. Right? Just say that with everything. Everything's perfect. It's okay. Everything's perfect. Everything's perfect. Listen to what that does to you. Be aware of how that makes you feel inside. Everything's perfect. Everything's perfect. Everything's perfect, right? Everything is perfection. And when I start to live life in that way, none of these pillars come falling down, crashing down into my life circle anymore. I let everything go. It's okay to notice when you feel restricted. It's okay to have these restrictions, right? These restrictions are here. This is the entire makeup of material reality. Material reality is your tool. It is your learning guide. It's your learning process. It's teaching you how to be the divine. It's teaching you how to be God. It's teaching you how to be omnipotent, omniscient, omnipotent. Why do you think we're here in the first place, guys? Do you think it's just here we're just here to be in a flesh body and we have one shot at this, and after this flesh body croaks, then that's the end of us? That would be the stupidest invention ever. That would be the stupidest experiment ever. That's not why we're here. You are learning to be divine. You are learning to be God. You are learning to be omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. That's what you're learning. That's what you're experiencing through material reality. I can go into material reality and I can make everything here godly. I can go into this life, I can interact with millions of people all over the planet. I can look into all the systems here on the earth And I can go into life and I can make everything perfect. That's godly. That's godliness. That's divinity. That's the non-dual, right? Is making everything perfect. Nature does it, right? You look around. Look at the grass, look at the trees, look at the waters, look at the mountains, look at the animals, look at the insects, look at the elements, look at how everything balances itself. Nature's perfect, right? And that's all you're doing is you're balancing yourself in harmony with nature. A tree is not going to be complaining because there's an oak tree right next to it, and the oak tree is much more prettier than it, and then it starts getting jealous and starts using its branches to hit that oak tree because it's so jealous of it. You ever see a tree doing that? See, we're the only species here on this planet that has completely forgotten our nature. Everything else on the planet Earth knows its role, knows its part in the greater creation of all, except us. And when you start moving yourself back into the flow of nature, you surrender, because that's what nature does. You go out into the forest, you feel nature touching you. You feel nature calming you, centering you, bringing you into balance. When you go into that nature of balance, you're learning how to surrender. So the breath takes you there, nature takes you there. And that's what you need to spend more time doing. You need to spend more time with the breath. You need to spend more time with nature. You need to spend more time with what is natural. You need to be able to pull out a canvas and fully express yourself entirely. That these two pictures I have here, there's no other person that has made those. Those have been my authentic expression of looking at those two pictures. See, there's one, there's the other. I didn't go onto Google Images and start copying somebody. This is my own authentic expression of being that I absolutely enjoy looking at. And that is what you need to do with life. You need to take all of these belief systems. You need to take all of these restrictions, everything that somebody else has told you you have to do. You need to act this way, you need to think this way, you need to behave this way, you need to idealize, you need to feel in this way, or else. That's the only reason why you do what you do that causes these restrictions. What have I shared? Just out of love. Follow the breath and follow nature. Follow the breath, follow nature. You will surrender. As you surrender, you let all of these things go. You watch all those gigantic pillars that you have erected and have them fall from the sky onto the ground here in your life. They dissolve away completely. And now you are catching yourself whenever you're trying to put resistance upon yourself. Oh, it's too slow, it's too fast, it's too cold, it's too hot, I'm too poor, I'm too rich, right? I'm too cocky, I'm too modest, whatever it may be. And we just catch this. Oh, I realize what I'm saying here. Okay, I'm going to let that go now. Letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. It's exactly why I've created the release ball method, guys. Okay? Letting all of this go. Letting myself feel completely free. Because when I feel completely free, I know that everything is perfect. Okay? So, not only is everything perfect, everything is possible. Okay? Because everything is possible when everything's perfect. And everything's perfect, meaning that everything is possible. So my possibility, anything can happen. My perfection, it's everything. Everything is perfect. Everything is possible. And when I live in that way, I take down these walls of restrictions and I just listen. I listen to my life. I listen to where there's tension. I listen to where that resistance lies, those gigantic pillars that fall from the sky and just instantly come crashing down. I catch that now. So I hold that pillar and say, nope, I'm surrendering, I'm letting it go. The pillar disappears. And this is it, guys. It's very, very simple. It's being able to let go of your resistances. And the only reason why you have a hard time doing that is because you have identified with the mind. The mind is not a bad thing, okay? The mind is not your enemy. The body is not your enemy. You have a body, but yes, it's true, you're not the body. You have a mind, but yes, it's true, you're not the mind. But you're still working with them because they're your support systems. They're what's making material reality this particular type of tool to helping you to become omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, to become godly, to become divine, right? To being divine. It's exactly why this material world exists, right? We've materialized it into being. We wanted to experience it. We want to go into this world and saying, even though it appears like everything here is solid and dense, I'm going to go into this world as well too, and I'm going to make everything perfect. That perfection does not involve me thinking I need to go into other people's worlds and trying to make them perfect. That's a wrong thinking. A lot of people get confused by that. Well, Brad, if everything's perfect, how come this person is acting this way? Are you trying to change that person? Yeah, well, that's exactly why. You want to change that person. Something about that person bothers you. And because as soon as you're bothered with that, you feel you have to change it. That's not perfection. You are able to be completely content and completely in harmony no matter how a person is. That's perfection. If I'm bothered by somebody, and I'm not in any sense of perfection, this person bugs me. They just won't stop talking, blah, 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 blah. And they're constantly talking, and they're talking my ear off, and they're just acting so cocky and everything. Well, there you go. Then I'm basically putting those words of resistance into my life because that's what I'm thinking, that's what I'm feeling, that's what I'm idealizing. So I'm not free. And nothing feels perfect right now because I'm bothered by that person. You being bothered by another person and trying to change that person is not a compliment to perfection, but it is a way of resistance. You need to remember that. The only perfection you will ever experience is the perfection that comes from within and radiates through you. Not trying to feel like this person is doing this and they're acting so horrible and this person's a bully in my life and they're acting so horrible. Well, then I'm putting all these restrictions on them. I'm putting all this resistance on them. There's the pillars coming crashing down again. You are the one that makes yourself perfect. And through that perfection that you feel within, it radiates without, which means nothing bothers you. You're imperturbable. There are no more perturbations in life. You see yourself as a still pond. And even though there's a bunch of rumblings around you, that water is still able to remain still. Because you are making everything perfect. Because everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. Everything is possible. Follow the breath. Follow nature. And you will see this. Then you will know everything truly is perfect. Everything truly is possible. And it is all within and through me. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaskar.